First, we have a new document related to Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and an allegation from his past that sources tell NBC News is sexual in nature. Today, ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, Senator Dianne Feinstein, turned over a letter to the FBI saying, "I have received information from an individual concerning the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. That individual strongly requested confidentiality, declined to come forward or press the matter further, and I have honored that decision. I have, however, referred the matter to federal investigative authorities." The FBI confirmed that it received the information, saying in a statement, "We included it as part of Judge Kavanaugh's background file as per the standard process." Two sources familiar with the matter have told NBC News that the letter involves a sexual misconduct allegation against Brett Kavanaugh dating back to his high school days. One source told NBC News the conduct described could allege sexual assault, but said it could also be a lesser allegation. The New York Times reports that this letter was sent in July, first to Democratic Representative Anna Eshoo, who then passed it along to California Senator Dianne Feinstein. But the letter's contents did not come up at any time during Brett Kavanaugh's questioning. Senator Feinstein did not share the existence of the letter or its contents with her Democratic colleagues until late last night, according to multiple reports. In just 1 week, the Judiciary Committee is set to vote on Brett Kavanaugh. That vote has been delayed by the Democrats until September 20th. And joining us now is Lisa Graves. She's the former Chief Counsel for Nominations for the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee and was Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Department of Justice. Lisa, this is an extraordinary situation, and it has echoes of Anita Hill testifying to the Senate Judiciary Committee. She, too, was reluctant, as you will remember. She did not want to come forward publicly, but she believed she had information to share about Clarence Thomas. What do you make of what the committee has done with this so far? What would you recommend the committee do?
Well, I think it's certainly troubling for something like this to be brought forward, and I know from observing Senator Feinstein that she's a cautious and careful senator, and so I think in this instance we have to wait and see, and I think that there is obviously more things we need to wait and see. We know that most of the documents that pertain to Judge Kavanaugh have not been released to the committee, and there are serious issues about whether he's been honest with the committee. I think he's lied to the committee under oath, as I've said. And so I think that this is one more instance where the committee needs to take a closer look in terms of not rushing him, not rushing a judgment. But really, Lawrence, I think in this case, the American people deserve a judge whose record shows that he'll be honest about the facts and the law. And Judge Kavanaugh, in the broader debate that's happening about the documents that have come forward, Judge Kavanaugh has not been honest. He has not lied about a white lie or trivial things, but about consequential things. And so I think that Senator Durbin's letter also from last night that talks about new documents showing even further proof of Judge Kavanaugh lying to the committee is a serious matter for the Senate. It's a serious matter for the court. It's a serious matter for the American people, because he wasn't just making a political speech. He was testifying under oath to the truth of his statements, and I think he lied repeatedly.
Lisa, I'd like to get your advice, what advice you would give to a witness out there like this woman. And what we know so far is that a woman wrote a letter, put this in writing to Congresswoman Eshoo in California sometime this summer. And at some point, Congresswoman Eshoo passed that letter along to Senator Feinstein. It has been made very clear by the author of the letter that she does not want to go public in any way. But she also, obviously, putting in writing these accusations about Brett Kavanaugh, which have been described as sexual assault, believes that she has something important for them to know. How do you balance those two challenges? One, someone who doesn't want to go public as a witness but seems to have important information. And what would you tell a potential witness like that?
Oh my goodness, that's such a hard question, Lawrence. I think that, first of all, it's important to honor the wishes of someone in that circumstance if they do not want their name to be known. There are procedures for the committee to have a session, an executive session, or a closed-door meeting to consider matters that aren't in the public domain. I think it's a difficult position because the person's name might leak. And in fact, we know from the documents that Manuel Miranda stole from the United States Senate server that there was a similar circumstance in the documents that were conveyed to Judge Kavanaugh, where a woman who was a lawyer representing a young woman in an abortion case came forward to the committee with a confidential letter, and her name was revealed by Manuel Miranda to Judge Kavanaugh, even though that document was given only exclusively to the Democratic senators, to the counsel on the Democratic side. And so there's a lot of danger of a person who does not want to be being named, and there are significant consequences for that person. There are also significant consequences for the United States and the court in terms of what someone's true record is, what a nominee's true record is.
Lisa, we're going to have to go to a break and get back to some more hurricane coverage, but I just wanted to ask you, the Anita Hill hearings were clearly one of the low points in the history of the Judiciary Committee, and I'm just wondering if the committee, I mean, Orrin Hatch is a member now, he was a member then, he went through that hearing, I would say shamed himself in the Anita Hill hearings and the way he performed. He wasn't the only one, and I'm wondering if the committee, if the members, if the staff thought about that after the fact, in the years that they've had to think about it after the fact, and tried to come up with some kind of corrective procedure for a situation like this, for another Anita Hill, if the committee were ever confronted with it again. Has the committee ever thought this through and figured out how to handle this?
Well, my conversations with other counsel and former counsel over time has been to really take the time necessary in the Senate as part of the advice and consent process to have as many witnesses as really need to come forward, to not move quickly, to not leave witnesses off who have significant material information, as came out after the fact in the Clarence Thomas hearings. And I think that that's another reason why the procedures and the lack of procedures, in fact the breaking of the rules by Senator Grassley, is so troubling, because there's such a rush here, and that goes against the entire all those lessons learned, how it's important to be very deliberate, take all the time needed to make this very monumental decision about whether someone should be entrusted for the rest of his life as a Supreme Court justice. And Brett Kavanaugh is only 52 years old.
That's such a good point, Lisa. If this were a normal confirmation scheduling process, we wouldn't have had the hearing yet, and therefore this item we're discovering tonight and talking about tonight, we probably would have been discussing before the hearing, and staff like you working on that committee and senators would have had time to process it. Lisa Graves, thank you for your expertise on this. Your input's invaluable to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. Thank you very much.